Originally, I was not planning to do a video this week. I have another video that I have already started work on that was going to be part of my plan to get back to a 2-week cadence of videos, so I was intending it to be next week. Something came up over this weekend, and I need your help. You see, I acquired a box of stuff. I got this giant, massive, hulking box of stuff. And I only have looked through a little bit of it, and a lot of what I have seen, I have no idea what it is. Now, a bunch of this I already can tell is scrap. There are a bunch of the cards, like this one here on top. This used to be an ISA card, and I can tell that somebody cut off where the edge connector was so that they could, you know, melt it down to get 0.5 milligram of gold. There are a bunch of cards like that, but farther down in the box, there are a bunch of cards that are complete, or at least appear to be complete, and there are a bunch with chips that, at a quick glance, I did not recognize. So there is a bunch of weird stuff in this box, and I need your help to try to identify what some of this is so that I can figure out what to do with it. So I'm going to move this over to this table. I weighed this box. It is 70.8 pounds. It is packed full with boards. So I'm probably actually going to sort it. I know there's some duplicate boards. I'm going to move over to the bench and we'll look through this and see if we can figure out what the heck some of this stuff is. So after I got this box hauled up onto the table, I decided to not go through it because I think being surprised by what I find will make the video better than like pre-filtering, and I can edit stuff out later. I think this will be better. So I'm gonna just start pulling stuff out of this mammoth box. I'll go ahead and grab these two boards at once. So these are both, I think, pretty obviously ISA boards, and you can see along here how the edge connector was just cut off of this. This was some kind of a memory board from the size of the connector, probably for 8-bit, but I don't know what the rest of this stuff was, and I don't particularly see. There's a 50 megahertz crystal on it. Oh, what's this say? Oh, this could have been interesting. Because right here on this edge, it says professional graphics controller, although I don't see anything else on this board that says graphics controller to me in any way, shape, or form. I may do some offline research and interject some extra stuff at this point in the video. We'll see, because I don't know what, I mean, there may have been like a daughter board here that is long gone that would have had the actual graphics adapter. I don't know. That is odd. Okay. And then this board, 9-pin connector on the edge. Again, the edge connector cut off. There's a couple SRAM chips on it. I don't see any kind of an identifying mark on this at all. I mean, there's a couple random numbers on it, but there's nothing that gives me any indication what the heck this might have been. This will be a board I may go ahead and try to like harvest these SRAM chips. I don't know, maybe the crystal, although now the leg of the crystal is snapped off there. Yeah, so I don't know. No idea. All right, and then I'm gonna pull, I know there are several of these boards in here. And and they're a little bit farther down. This is some kind of a processor. When I first saw these boards, I got kind of excited thinking that maybe this is some kind of a 68,000 board, because that is about the size and shape of a 68,000 or a 6810 processor. Didn't notice it has these really nice LED displays on it, but you can see again the edge connectors are just ripped off because someone, you know, wanted to get a milligram of gold. All of the chips on this are socketed, which is pretty cool. And there is so this says Synercom Technology Assembly 1. I'm not sure what that is. Maybe 9, but it looks a lot more blocky than that. 191633. And you can see again where the edges were just ripped off. This says digital. I wonder if this is like from some kind of a deck computer. Anyway, the reason I was mentioning this is just like this TRW thing is just like a metal plate on this, and there's at least one of these where the metal plate has come off. So when I get down to one of those, we'll be able to identify at least what this chip is. But this almost all looks like just piles of 74 series logic. These that kind of have the appearance of RAM chips, and there's 16 of them, so that would, you know, explain 16-bit CPU, presumably, or at least 16-bit bus, 16 RAM chips. They say IMS1420P45. All right, I was able to find a data sheet for these. They are 4K by 4-bit static RAM. So this is actually, it's difficult to say how this is organized. I mean, it seems unlikely that it's organized as a 64-bit bus. It's probably a 16-bit bus, and so groups of 4 of them are banked together. Difficult to say, but these are really cool. Oh, and they also are socketed. These little displays. And I guess I can look up, see if I can find out what that. So Synercom Technology is still a company, but I couldn't find this. I tried entering this assembly number, but it didn't find anything. I can look up this. Let's see. Okay, so the only thing I could find is a data sheet for an AMD Am29516, which is a 16-bit by 16-bit multiplier. That seems like a giant package for something that is just doing multiplication. So maybe this is a multiplication coprocessor board, something. I'm not sure. We'll find out more when I come across one of these that where the metal plate has come off the chip. Okay, so next up, oh, this is a big board. Oh. And I saw a couple boards that look like this, and this was what made me go ahead and just buy the box of stuff, because this is an 8086 processor, and some of them also have an 8087 in this socket, but there's piles of other stuff, and thankfully everything is socketed. Although on some of the other boards that I saw, one or both of the CPU and the math coprocessor are not socketed. They're soldered on. You can see from the back here that there was edge connectors along here that again have been unceremoniously ripped off. Some bodge wires on the back. A TMS 4500. What are these? 82. So these are all three 8230 Intel 8237s. A WD 1933P, which is Well, there's a little bit of silkscreen here that says COM int, so I'm going to assume that this is some kind of a UART or something. And what are these up here? Wow. There are 6 8251s up here and 4 8259s. Holy smokes. We heard you like I.O. These are all 4164s, so those are identifiable RAM chips. The ROMs are at least labeled low byte, high byte. It's labeled where each one is in the address space. So from that we can see the chip numbers on them. But so these ones are at F8000 and these are at FC000. That's kind of neat. So now this is interesting. Up here, headers for Workstation I/O and VP8 memory data. Oh, and here's a better, here we go. Synercom Technology Workstation Data Processor. I wonder what the heck kind of workstation this was. But here, the number is easier to read. That number on the other board that I thought was a 9 is a 0 with a slash through it. And after a little bit of quick searching on the internet, I find nothing. No idea. No idea what this may have come out of. But it's got a huge number of potentially useful chips on it and these LEDs. Now let's pull, all right, I want to pull out this little box of stuff because it's kind of in the way. So these are completely different kinds of connectors. What the heck? This is really odd. I mean, it is some kind of a card that slots into something, but these are like it would slot into pins. That's odd. Oh, and these are, okay, and so then this is like, all right, so this is a carrier that could hold 2 of these. No clue. And these don't particularly have, I mean, they've got these big IBM chips on them, which I'm assuming this is week 8, 1983. And then these are just random numbers as far as I can tell. I don't even know what the heck kind of a thing this would connect into, any of these. And of course, there's no part numbers on. Oh, and then this is something totally different. That's really dirty. No idea. I'm especially curious what the heck kind of a device you would connect cards into with connectors like that. Let's see. Is this? Oh, that's just the bag. Okay. So then this, all right, so this looks like another of that same board. Yeah, that Workstation, yeah, the Workstation data processor, and this one has the 8087, but it's soldered in. Okay, so there's 2 of those. And this looks like another of the same. And the next one down looks also like another of the same. And this one, ooh, this one is filthy. So on this one, the 8087 is socketed at least. So those are potentially useful. Oh man, that is so dirty. Holy smokes. That is yeah, the 8087 and maybe these RAM chips might be the only things I try to pull off of this filthy thing. Okay, so that means there's 4 of those. Well, this is a keyboard. Ooh, with some of the keys coming off. Well, at least they kind of pop back in. It's not a bad feeling keyboard. Ooh. BET Slimline Keyboard. assembly 33888764. And a key that falls off. I wonder, I have a feeling there's probably going to be some more of these keys hiding down in this box. And then it connects with, so these are the kinds of plugs that DEC used to like to use on keyboards and things. But I don't recognize this keyboard layout particularly. It does have a speaker on the keyboard, so this probably would have been from some kind of a terminal, but the keyboard controller chip has been scavenged by scoundrels. So these, I'm gonna just grab a bunch of these out because these all look the same. Oh my goodness. All right, that's all of them there. Obviously there. Okay, so this Aeolian Kinetics BTU meter, hot, cold flow. So this is feeling to me like these could be copyright 1980, and these all look the same, and they have all had the interesting chips. Any kind of interesting ICs have been removed from all of them. I would wager a guess that perhaps these are just based on hot, cold, and flow, that maybe these are boards from like a hot water heater, a 1980 hot water heater, which I'm sure is going to be super useful. And I don't even think there's anything on those particularly worth trying to scavenge. All right, I'll pull this out. Here's one of those metal plates I was talking about. I'm gonna pull this out. Okay. And this one actually doesn't look like it's had edge connectors cut off of it, but it has had some kind of connectors scavenged. I don't see a maker's mark on here or any. So week 3, 1984. Let's see, anything interesting on here? That is quite a connector there. And then a very filthy 9-pin connector. No idea what that might be. And then this is, like paper outside capacitors, and and these are very, okay. I'm gonna take a moment to clean up. Not long after I brought this box into my basement, I saw a mouse in my basement. And I work real hard to keep rodents out of here because, I mean, the obvious reasons, and also because they get into computers and old computers and ruin them. And I have a couple old computers down here. So I was pretty alarmed by that. And how did a mouse get in? How did a mouse get in? How did a mouse get in? And then someone said to me, well, you brought in that giant box that had been out in like a barn, basically. Maybe it was in the box. And I feel like the particles that I will edit out support the hypothesis that the mouse came in the box. I think this is 2. There's, oh yeah. All right, so there's a couple of these that are identical. All right. Okay, so now we can solve this mystery once and for all. All right, so Am29516 DC is what that chip actually is. So I will go ahead and look that up. And so this is the same. And then this is another one. So this must be the one that the metal plate came off of, because there's a it probably won't show up particularly on the camera, but there's a little spot where the adhesive was, and there's no other markings on the board. And then this is, again, the same deal, except for this one has a spider egg nest on it, okay? And 46th week of 1983, 46th week of 1983. Okay, so these are integer multipliers. It looks like there's multiple multipliers in each one of these chips. That is interesting. I'm gonna have to try to learn more about these. So I don't like what the heck were these from? This out. Oh wait. This looks like it might be the same. Yes. Okay, so this Dataproducts Corp 1978, and again, edge connectors chopped off. I don't even have a guess what these might have been. I mean, it has an assembly number on it, 251165, but I don't know if that's gonna. So far, everything else that I have come across in this box that I have tried to look up has been completely dry. The internet has never heard of it. What is this? So this has got, oh, okay. So this has two different COM ports on it and a printer port. This says processor board PWB 33896796 Rev A. Let's see if I can identify. So it's got a, well, maybe that's a 4650. I don't know. There's a lot of digits there. Some SRAM chips. So I wonder if maybe the CPU was here in this emptied socket. Not sure. I mean, there's all of these chips. I will have to look up these. They're all NEC chips. There's two. Okay, so these are, I'm gonna guess that 8450 is the date codes and that D7201 is the chip. And then, wowee, D65002046 and B6102C. And this 46505 SP, maybe a display controller. And then a lithium battery that has not leaked. So also at this sale, there was a couple terminals, but they kind of wanted a lot for them. I think that they thought that they were like retro TVs or something that people could play video games on, and they didn't have any keyboards. I didn't know that keyboard was in there, and I don't think that keyboard will work, and there was no other keyboards anywhere to be found. So I kind of was a little bit reluctant to spend a bunch of money on something that I would never actually be able to use, and they were quite large. So as predicted, this is a CRT controller. These are serial I/O chips, presumably one for each of these ports. No clue what this chip is. No clue what this chip is. So if you have any idea what an NEC B6102C is, I'd love to hear about it, because I don't have the faintest idea. And I don't see anything on here. This just says firmware and then a string FW, presumably for firmware. I'm assuming that these would have been ROM sockets. String of numbers, and then it looks like mod 9.1. But I don't see anything else on here that would identify who made this. So no No clue how to track any of this down. It's interesting. There's a crystal on here. No, that isn't. 27.648 megahertz. That is such a specific number. What? I mean, that's not an even multiple of the NTSC clock frequency. So would that have been for the monitor somehow, and they were running it at some weird refresh rate? I don't know. So this is another Dataproducts Corp. Although this one says 1980, the other one said 1978. Maybe that actually was a 1978 board. Huh. So this says timing and status up here, and there's a like a momentary switch. And I don't see anything else. There's a giant long assembly number, 263080. I guess it's not that long. But aside from that, no clue what that would be. And this is also a Dataproducts 1979. Again, no immediately recognizable chips other than 74 series logic. And I kind of like this. So these are like, they're like sockets, but without any of the plastic, which is kind of interesting. So there's two empty ones of those, and then this chip is in one of those kind of sockets. I don't know what else to call it. Although this, so there's a bit of text. So this does say processor. Like, I don't know. Huh. And then these say MEM1, MEM2. Make sure this is MEM1, MEM2. So are these chips? So there's like numbers stamped on here, and then the numbers actually like printed on the chip, and I can't read it. I'll have to dig out a magnifying lens later and check it out. Although it was machine tested. All right, let's see what these are. Again, this had some portion of the edge connector rudely chopped off. I wonder, based on the size and that they have Molex connectors, well, it looks like maybe it was a, I'm not sure what that is. Huh. I wonder if these were boards off some kind of a disk drive, floppy drive or hard drive. 7735440B MXERWI9. No idea. And there's three of them that are identical. So far, I don't feel like I'm figuring anything out. I'm gonna grab out this stack thinking that maybe they're all the same or similar. These actually have their edge connectors. Amazing. They weren't gold plated, so there was no reason to cut them off, apparently. But no Zinco. Other than that, nothing that looks like a maker's mark. And all I see on here are 74 series logic and whatever these white Beckman chips are. Are these all the same? No, they are not all the same. But they're the same kind of edge connector, but they're different boards. Assembly 26287433, Rev 4. And this is similar, but it has a slightly different assembly number on it. But no other... Huh. Now this has got... Oh wait, what's going on here? So these, I suspect, are RAM chips. I'm gonna look these up. They are HM4864P. So these are likely RAM chips. Yes, so these are 64K by 1 RAM chips on here. And then I'm gonna assume, so these are Motorola chips. I'll go ahead and look these up, but I would wager a guess that maybe they're the same. Oh, these ones have been cut up. Boo. All right, let's go ahead and look this up. So these boards could be useful to someone because they still have the edge connectors. So I tried searching for both AQD8416, but I feel like given some of the date codes I see on other things around here, like 8420, that 8416 is probably the date code. And that 1272 is the chip, but I could not find anything about that online. So if you have any idea what the heck kind of a system has edge connectors like this, and what these RAM chips might be, because again, I'm assuming that they're probably RAM chips. Just the layout of, what is it, 9? Yeah, 9. So they're probably something by 1 RAM chips, because the other ones were 1 bit, were 64K by 1 in a similar organization. So this is some kind of a RAM board for I don't know what. Okay, yeah, there is August 7th, 1984. So that tracks with those date codes. No idea. But someone is desperately trying to refurbish a mini computer and needs one of those boards somewhere out there. Now this looks like it for sure had edge connectors that were chopped off. There's a little LED on it. IC3B assembly 28554509. But nothing else. And then this looks to be the same. And this looks to be the same. Okay. All right. Well, I'm going to keep setting these to the side. Oh, man. There's still a lot left in here. Remember, I said this weighed 70.8 pounds. And again, feels like chopped off edge connectors. No maker's mark. Similar PE9T2. Yeah, just completely opaque what the heck these might be. Oh, well, this one's different. I wonder if this kind of an organization just says RAM board to me. But again, no maker's mark, nothing, and I've got no ideas. And it's interesting how these have like these barriers. What are these? I mean, presumably, because these barriers are soldered on and they're metal. What would that be for? Some kind of RF shielding? This all looks like 74 series logic. No idea. And then this is the same as one of those earlier boards. Now this is different. This looks more like that unidentified RAM board. Yeah, and these are the same 64K by 1 RAM chips, and this one is fully populated. All right. And this has October 14th, 1986. So this would have been a 512K RAM board for something. No idea what. Well, this says October 21, 1985. What was the date? That's totally different. Oh, that's interesting. So the stamp on the one side, oh, and then there's a totally different October 27th. So this is October 21, 1985, and then on the other side, October 14, 1986. Do you know what year you are from? Actually, this looks like there was more board here because these traces go right up to the edge. Will they do the same on here? Yeah, shoot. These have been chopped off too. So there was some other set of connectors up here that got chopped off because... Oh, and then this is another one of those other obtuse mystery boards. Oh, man. Frustrating. So this is another one of those RAM boards. This has Texas Instruments 4164s. So these are commonly known RAM chips on that one. This is one of the mystery LED boards, although I thought that the other ones, the LED was maybe green, and this one it's red. But it doesn't seem to have anything different on it. This is another one of those boards with the barriers, although this one has some of its edge connectors on it, so that's a little bit different. No idea what those might be for. And no, I don't understand why you would manufacture a thing and not even put who made it. Yeah, another one of those, another one of these, another one of the RAM boards. I'll add to the RAM board pile. Yeah, so this one does for sure have a green LED on it. Okay, this looks like it could be something different. It's a bunch of sockets. Although this actually, hallelujah, it has some words. Standard disk host controller B. All right. Cool. Too bad it has 0 chips on it. Okay. So I'm going to pull these out. All right, so this looks like, oh yeah, so these are more of those boards that I hypothesized might be from on a disk drive. This is something different for sure. Ah. So I'm going to guess this is off an MFM hard drive because of the 2 edge connectors that are chopped off of it, and it says Seagate Technology. So off some kind of MFM hard drive, although that's interesting that it has 2 power connectors, and I'm going to need to clean my tabletop here again in a second. This is a completely different kind of board. This has a data channel controller. Well, this looks to be not the same. Same kind of unusual connector, but definitely a different board. And again, so this had some kind of an edge connector that plugged into the computer at the bottom. And then this is IO2 board. This is byte 180, and then looks like 256 scribbled out. So that. I'm just gonna pull all the rest of these out. And these are looking pretty familiar. The LED board, this is a red one. Well, this is different. What are you? What is this? What kind of component is this? KMB06 DC 5 volts star. Huh. It has its edge connector. Mad. And I don't see anything other than just piles and piles of 74 series logic and passives. And it is the same kind of edge connector as the RAM boards. And this one does, yeah, this, from the feel of it, this, whatever, there was some kind of a connector up here and it's got chopped. Another one of the LED boards. Another one of the boards with dividers. This looks similar to the LED boards, but it's not. This is another one of those host disk controllers with all the chips removed. LED board. LED board. LED board. Oh, interesting. So this is one of the RAM boards, but it's fully socketed. And of course, although this seems different from the other RAM boards. Yeah, so this is I'm assuming a RAM board, but it is a completely different design than the other ones and has all these switch blocks. I really wonder what the heck kind of computer this came out of. And then this is, yeah, I've seen other boards like that in this pile. So these are a bunch of the missing keycaps from here, possibly. Let's see. And, huh. All right, so 7 is surely from here. And these clear ones are kind of interesting. I'm sure that the plus and equals is from here. Probably go there. And the rest of these, I wonder if this clear goes here. No, it seems differently shaped. What kind of key? What is this keyboard from? No idea. All right. So I'm going to put these loose keys in this box. Set that up there. So these seem different than anything we've seen before in this lot, although all the interesting chips have been removed, and again the edge connectors cut off. It just says BNV2B board component side. And then what's this? Same. Okay, so that's the same. Okay, so those are identical. This is different. So there's a tiny little bit of text right here. SD280 board. Absolutely no idea. I don't see any other markings on it that give any clues. Okay, what do we got here? And then this is the same, although this has got a sticker. Burroughs 1248, February 27th, 1988. That is the only thing I see on there. All right, I can look that up. All right, Google helped me find a lot of stuff about William S. Burroughs. I don't think that has anything to do with this. So there it is. There is the one piece of possible clue as to what the heck these particular boards are. Doesn't help me any. Although These are really good sockets. I like these kind of sockets. I may harvest these sockets, at least get something out of this. And these are more the BNV2B boards that have no hints on them. All right, so I don't know. I don't have the faintest idea what any of this stuff is. There are at least, I mean, if nothing else, there's a bunch of socketed RAM chips and ROM chips on some of those boards, and the 8086 CPUs and the 8087 math coprocessors. I can harvest those and make use of them. And maybe some of the other components off some of these boards. Like, in particular, if I could figure out what these were from, I feel like these could be useful to someone. I don't know, maybe pulling, I don't know if dumping these ROMs would provide any light. I can try searching for this assembly number again. Yeah, searching for this part number, correct part number instead of 9 does not give any information. So this is this is where I need your help. What is any of this? and did I waste my money buying this back-breaking box of mouse poop? I mean, some of it definitely is not of any use. I mean, these boards that are probably from hot water heaters. Again, that's just my guess, but these I don't think have any use whatsoever. I don't even think there's anything useful particularly to harvest off of them. But there's for sure some oddball things in here, and I would love to have some kind of a clue what any of it is. So my hope is over the weekend I'm going to continue to work on the video that I was intending to do next, and I will hopefully be able to get it out next week. It may slip a week, but I may be able to get it out next week. If you are interested in that video, which I'm going to keep kind of a secret, but there has been a clue, I highly recommend that you subscribe to the channel. If you found any of this interesting and thought any of this stuff was neat, I would really appreciate a like. And until next time, try to remember the good stuff.